to it.
All right, hang on 1 second for intro.
You've now tuned in to the Drawing Board Podcast, a powerful, thought-provoking discussion where we talk about family, relationships, ministry, community, and career. Let's see what exciting guests we have on our show today. All right, again, Podcast Detroit and Facebook, we are back at it. This is Andre Ebron, and I am the author and the host of the Drawing Board Podcast. Hello, everybody that's tuning in on Tammy's page. Tonight I have, again, I would like to introduce her, the kind, the loving, the sensitive, the nurturer, the powerful, the sincere. And these are all things that I've gotten a chance to know in my time of knowing Tammy, but everybody knows her. I saw somebody put on there, as Tammy, they said that you are by the people, that you are for the people, and that you work with the people. And so I have Tammy Turner on our show. Let me tell you a little bit about Tammy. Tammy is, words that describe her, she is an entrepreneur, an author, a public speaker, and a trainer. After serving for 6 years in the field of public accounting and having worked at major firms such as Arthur Andersen and Deloitte and Touche, Tammy realized that her true passion was in the field of human resources.
Yes.
So, Tammy, tell me about that time when you worked there. Part of the drawing board is helping people come to that. Oprah calls it an aha moment.
Right.
People may call it an epiphany. If you're part of the faith community, you may call it a revelation or some insight or foresight. How did you know in those moments that human services that was your next step?
I had an opportunity to attend various career fairs on behalf of the firm that I was representing, well, both firms that I was representing. And at those career fairs, I had a chance to engage with students. These were college students that were considering careers in accounting. And that engagement just was so fulfilling to me, being able to give them, quite honestly, the behind the tool shed conversation to help them prepare for the transition from college life to corporate America. And for many African American students, that's a culture shock.
Absolutely.
You know, so it was, I felt an obligation to be able to help them make that transition. And it's just where I developed a passion. And so that's when I realized public accounting is not for me.
Okay.
I need to transition into recruiting, and that's what I did.
Awesome. That's amazing because oftentimes when people are looking to pursue their dream or what they may consider their dream, you have to be doing something like the thing that leads to the thing.
Right. Absolutely.
And that would be some of what I'm hearing from what you're saying. That's some of the strong encouragement that you're giving is that it may not be the thing, but it is the thing that may lead to the thing.
Absolutely.
And so doing that work of public accounting, it led you into human resources. And it says, as such, Tammy worked as a recruiter on behalf of Robert Half Finance, an accounting and a senior recruiter for Quicken Loans Rock Financial.
Yes.
Then in 2004, you were able to travel overseas to Cambodia, where you worked as a recruiting consultant for UNICEF. And then Tammy you returned to the United States in 2007 with your own company, Capstone Training Services.
Yes.
And then in 2010, you established your own publishing company, Capstone. Talk to me about that. So as an entrepreneur, what are your greatest rewards? And then what are your greatest challenges?
Oh, there's a lot of challenges. So let me start with the rewards. As an entrepreneur, my greatest reward is freedom.
Okay.
Quite honestly, I have the freedom to dictate my future. I have the freedom to help others as I see fit and be able to benefit their lives, make an impact in their lives. And what I mean by that is I own a staffing company. So when I help a person find a new job opportunity, a new career opportunity, not only am I affecting that person, I'm affecting the people in their life. So
Absolutely.
It could be their husband, their wife, their children, helping them find a new helping to add value to that family by increasing, the income in that family, or increasing the opportunities that they're afforded. So that is one of the biggest rewards to me. There are many, many challenges that come with entrepreneurship, and it's not for everybody. I'll be honest with you. You make a lot of sacrifices as an entrepreneur, a lot of sacrifices, things that most people don't even imagine. And you don't have a steady paycheck every 2 weeks. You're not getting a paycheck every 2 weeks. And if you don't grind, you don't eat.
Absolutely.
That's just really the bottom line.
That's
so
right.
If you want to be successful, you have to get out there and grind it out every single day, on the days that you're tired, on the days that you're sleepy, on the days that you have the flu, on the days that your back hurts. Doesn't matter.
You don't eat what you don't kill.
That's right. That's
and
right.
What's interesting is entrepreneurship on the grand scale has become like the new sexy, right?
Yes.
So everybody thinks it's very appealing and nice, and it's the new sexy where, like, if I'm an entrepreneur, and I see a lot of people, and I can admit I've been guilty of it when I initially started. I was the president and CEO and getting the business and the vision and everything. But it is one of those things where, the title is great, but the work that is required. And one thing that I've noticed, is even like where I'm still in the process of developing my business, and you learn as you grow, is that where you start off and the idea of what you thought the company was going to accomplish, and then what it is that you're able to actually facilitate and get done, and then even when you do all your market research, but when you find that niche of what you provide better than anybody else, like with your staffing company. I was reading that you help the big three staff the engineers there.
Correct.
And I believe that is amazing, particularly as an educator, because we're talking about science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, and how essential your company will be to the universities in the area when kids are graduating from college, when I have a chance to introduce my 8th grader to a Tammy Turner that says, hey, if you propel yourself in this direction based upon these studies, like, I'm the person that you will come to help secure your financial future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So when you talk about freedom, though, so like that sounds so, doesn't it just.
Freedom is the new sexy.
It is. Right. Freedom
sexy.
and fulfillment. So
yes.
when we talk about like scheduling, and when we talk about not having any cap on your earning potential.
Right.
What do you think about this? I was reading something, and it was saying, it was talking about spending, particularly African-American spending, but I think it's applicable to this conversation.
Okay.
It was saying, like, the cell phone that you have, the clothes that we wear, like, you literally are exchanging life spent, for that tangible product.
Right.
And when you talk about the freedom of not being held to what somebody values your service as, but what it is that you deem and determine, like, this is what I intend to make.
Right.
So talk to me, like, there's somebody listening right now, and they're like, she is doing it. She has it set up. She's being successful. She's empowering other families. And when we increase the opportunity for the income, we also shift the dynamics generationally for families, for people you may never meet.
Right.
So somebody's listening, Tammy, what would you say to them right now? They are looking at becoming an entrepreneur. They're standing there getting ready to take that leap of faith. Like, what is your advice to them in this very moment?
Have a board of advisors and have lots of capital. Seriously. I'll share with you my story about how I even got into why I was so passionate about recruiting. Outside of being able to help people, I made a lot of money.
And that's not a bad thing.
And nobody goes into entrepreneurship to be broke, right?
Absolutely.
So you go into entrepreneurship so that you can have financial freedom to do the things that are important to you, whatever those things are. For me, it's travel, it's golf, it's be able to provide things for my children, my family that I didn't have when I was younger. So what I realized with recruiting, and I had a chance to work in staffing and corporate recruiting. A lot of people don't know that there's a difference between staffing and corporate recruiting. So corporate recruiting is like when you work at a Quicken Loans, Rock Financial, or you work at a Lear, or you work at a Magna or something like that. You're working for a corporation, and they determine your salary. Right. So as a recruiter, you come in, let's say you make $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. I don't even know what recruiters make in corporate, in the corporate arena now, maybe $60,000, $70,000. And that's it. that's as much money as you're going to make this year until you earn a merit increase next year, right?
Right.
So in staffing, what I realized really quickly is you have a base salary plus commission. So you have your base, which is what they tell you you're going to make every year, but then you have unlimited earning potential based on your commissions.
Okay.
So when I realized, wait a minute, you mean to tell me I can make as much money as I want?
As I want.
I said, oh, yeah, this is going to be my career. This is what I'm going to do, and
Right.
I'm good at it. And so easily I was able to, when I was still in corporate America, make a six-figure income, still working for someone else, but in staffing. And so I after doing that for about 7, 8, 12 years, and I realized I was making my boss rich. Like, I was the top earner in the company. I said,
It's time
for me to. There's no
Absolutely.
difference that exists between him and I. He puts his pants on one leg at a time, just like I do. And I said, it's time for me to strike out on my own. And so I developed a plan. I found a business partner. It was a neighbor of mine, a friend of mine, someone that I trusted implicitly. And she had an HR background. So I had the recruiting experience. She had the HR experience. And so we combined our talents, our knowledge, our resources, our capital, and said, let's do this. And so that's how Capstone was birthed.
And you've been striving and getting those successful contracts, and it's been entrepreneurship. A lot of time is feast and famine, but
Right.
I've been watching you all grow,
Thank
and just keeping my eye out on those things, because I draw inspiration from those type of stories. The same way on this platform I seek to provide that inspiration. The drawing board is that very moment. So I
Right.
live for those moments where it's like, okay, I realize that I have giftings, I have talents, and I have a strategy in order to perform well and produce an income. And so when you took that and you were able to monetize that and provide that service to someone else, I think that's amazing. Like, those type of stories give me courage for me to
Awesome.
share with other people, because like you said, there is no difference between us one another, but the decisions we make and our ability to be disciplined. Now,
you hit the nail on the head, Andre. It's discipline. Discipline. I can't stress it enough. A lot of times we think that it's just so easy to, you work from home or you have your own business. You can go in when you get ready. No, you still have to have a process. You still need to have a routine, or you end up becoming lazy.
Right.
Because you have no one to be accountable to. So it's interesting in my dynamic is that I'm accountable to my business partner and she's accountable to me. So we keep each other accountable, even though we own the company, and we're disciplined and we're committed and we're focused, and our vision is to scale our business. And so in order to do that, we have to have a plan in place, strategic plan, and you have to have capital. I mean, all of those things that most people, new entrepreneurs, don't really put a lot of consideration into until they're in the trenches. And that's just how it goes sometimes. People can tell you all day, every day what it's like, but until you actually experience it and you're in the trenches yourself, you may not adequately understand, especially the sacrifice that you're going to make.
Absolutely. So listening to you, I want to codify just kind of the portions of the talk that you need to get a board of directors, that you need to ensure that you have a lot of capital, that you need to have the discipline that's necessary. You need to have a strategy. And then that one word that I live by, because I believe that all relationships must have this, is we must have accountability.
Yes.
Because wherever there's not accountability, there will inevitably be some type of disappointment, right?
Right. Absolutely.
And so you are a runner also. Yes, you are.
I am. You're just hitting on all the good stuff today,
Yes,
Andre. And
absolutely.
we didn't rehearse this.
We didn't. And I'll share briefly before we go into that. So I talked to you when we were on our way into the studio, but when I was planning on launching myself as a speaker, I followed you because they always say you have to mark the perfect man holding no gender. So you have to mark those who are excelling or where you want to go. And I was watching, I was seeing you were speaking over here, you were corporate training over there, you were making an impact, and you were doing it at a high level. And so I was like, okay, let me see how. And then we end up crossing paths.
Right.
And I was like, and I spoke to you like I knew, like, hey, tell me, how are you?
Right.
And in the loving way that you always do. You greeted me with so much love. And then from that point, just gave, tidbits of encouragement. Or when I would be doing something and I see you may hit the like button or the, thumbs up, I was
Right.
like, okay, hey, I'm making
We
an
all
impact.
need encouragement.
We need encouragement. And so just publicly, I'd like to thank you and say your
thank
example
you.
of excellence has been so motivating and encouraging. And I know they always say if one person stops and says thank you, that they're representative of at least 1,000 people.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So let's get back to this running. So you
Yes.
are a runner. You are a gym rat. You're training.
I am all of the.
So walk me through that. Like, where did you get that appetite to run, to train? Because physical health is just as important as all other stability in our life. So talk to me about that.
It's interesting how that journey began. Really, when I first started running, it was because when I hit 40, my metabolism started to slow down. And so all the things, the poor eating habits that I had prior to 40 were catching up to me. Okay. And so that was initially my motivation for running. But what I realized with running and with exercising, working out, is that it requires discipline.
Right.
And I said, if I can discipline, and this is how you Jedi mind trick yourself. If I can discipline myself in my eating habits and the things, because I'm a social eater, I like to go out with my friends and I'll have a cocktail and I like to eat whatever I want and then I'll have dessert and all these things. But I said, if I can be disciplined in this area of my life, it can't do anything but transition into the other areas of my life as well.
Agreed.
So discipline is discipline. You make a decision, or you have a goal, you make a decision on how you're going to get there, then you plan, prepare, and execute. That's it.
Wait a minute. Break that down again. Somebody needs to catch that and put that in the comments. So break it down for us again.
So you create a goal, you decide how you're going to get there, and then you plan, prepare, and execute. And you have to stay focused. You're going to be distracted. Sometimes you will fall off of your square, but you have to get back on your square. Keep in mind what your vision is, what your goal is, and what you need to do to get there. So if your goal, is to lose 15 pounds, well, you're not going to lose those 15 pounds by going to White Castle.
That's right.
So, there's things that you need to do to make that happen. And so that was one of the reasons why I started running. One of the reasons why I became a gym rat is because I really wanted to incorporate discipline in all areas of my life, not just in my business, but in my physical being, my health. And it's also a part of my personal brand.
Right. So the personal brand says, listen, it is discipline across the board.
That's it.
I'm disciplined in my relationships. I'm
Yes.
disciplined in my business.
Yes.
And what's interesting is that so now we're going to take how that translates to networking.
Right.
Because when I come across your brand as being one of discipline, that is a good route for engagement.
Yes.
And so when I'm networking with someone, you wrote this awesome book, How to Talk to Strangers, a step-by-step guide to professional networking.
Yes.
Now, this is what's good, that everybody thinks they know how to network based upon their social relationships on how they connect to people. When I talk to people, a lot of people hit me with this. I don't know if I'm sure you've heard this. Oh, yes, I know how to network. I am a people person. And I can't tell you how much oversharing occurs in the context of a professional environment because that person is a people person.
Yes.
So break it down for me. I walk into a room. I love to provide imagery for those listening and for those watching. So I walk into a room, and it was Bow Tie Tuesday at my school today. So we had Bow Tie Tuesday. But I walk into a room, and what should I do before I step foot into the room? How do I prepare to be successful in this networking experience?
I am so glad you asked that. And again, I have to tell your audience, we did not rehearse this.
We didn't.
We did not.
We did not.
So I appreciate your research and your ability to be candid and also provide information to your audience. So, and your preparedness. So, really, for any networking event that you're going to, a person should research the event before they get there. So they should understand who's going to be at that event, If it's an event, well, every event you go to is an opportunity to network, right? So
Okay.
I don't care if it's an event at church. I don't care if it's an event at a conference. If it's a networking event that's entitled, networking, speed networking, whatever it is, find out who's going to be there. Research the people that you want to have a conversation with. I'll give you an example. There are times where I've gone to various corporate speaking engagements, and people know that I'm coming because the company sent out, a million flyers and emails and saying, this is the keynote speaker, Tammy Turner is going to be here. And so the question I always ask my audience is, how many people took the time to research me before I got here? And there's like 3 hands that go up in a room of 500.
That's the obligatory 3 hands that said, "Oh yeah, no, I did it."
Exactly. And I say, "Oh, excellent. So how many people in here know that I lived in Cambodia for 3 years?" And then 2 of those hands go down. I'm like, "Oh, awesome. How many people know that I came in as first runner-up in the Mrs. Michigan America pageant?" And all hands are down, right? And I bring those specific things up because they're on my bio on LinkedIn. They're on my website. So if you go and look at me, you'll see that information. So, and I said, research the people that you're going to be meeting. So if anybody in that room of 500 had walked up to me after the event or before the event and said, "Hi, I know you're Tammy Turner. I had a chance to go to your website. I understand that you lived in Cambodia for 3 years. You did this, that, and the other. Wow, how was that experience?" You'll be like so taken aback, that the person took the time to research you. And again, you don't have a second chance to make a first impression.
That's good.
So if someone is meeting me for the first time and they've taken the time to do some research on me and they say those things, or they find out that I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan,
right,
and they say, go Eagles, fly, I'd be like, wow, you will have made such an impression on me, and I will remember you. And I'll go out of my way to help you, because you made a good first impression. So I would say, again, to answer your question, before you attend a networking event, take the time to do your research to find out who's going to be there, so that you can be smart about your time, so that you can be strategic. Every event you won't have an opportunity to research. I will say in those instances as well, you should perfect your 30-second elevator pitch.
Okay.
It should be able to roll off of your tongue. You should be able to call yourself leave a message on your voicemail with your 30-second elevator pitch so you can hear how you sound. And if what the inflection in your voice is, are you speaking with confidence? Do you sound shaky? I mean, you can't convince anybody of who you are if you're unsure yourself.
If you don't believe you, you can't convince anybody else to believe you.
Exactly.
Now,
exactly.
have you seen those that master insecurity like through the overconfident voice? "Hi there, I am."
Yes, all the time.
And you're like, wait a minute, like bring it down. Like,
Right.
We're right here. Just,
Right.
Yeah.
Or the overconfident handshake with the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip.
With the Kung Fu grip.
Yeah.
Crushing the hand.
Yeah.
No, relax.
Or the other one is what we call the wet fish, where and ladies do this all the time. They're like, they just touch the tips of your fingers, which is really offensive.
It is. It was just, I really don't want to shake your hand, but since we're in this setting, and we have all experienced that.
For sure.
Or I'm going to be honest, the brother with the limp noodle handshake.
Yeah.
Or anybody with the limp noodle handshake. It's like,
Right.
you could have kept that one, or the now we do it depending on the social setting we're in. But the brothers we give dap and love and handshake, but there's a time and a place for all of those things.
Yes.
And I think that is essential and important to realize that if it's a networking event where, okay, these are professionals that are in the same environment all of the time, this is kind of what we do, and it's a little relaxed. But when we talk about professionalism, I think that is such a lost art.
It is. It is, Andre. It is.
And I think that training, starting with our children up into our young adults, like these are things that are essential, because when we go into networking events, I like to say that motive carries either a fragrance or a stench. And,
I like that.
and tell me, I would love to hear from your expertise, Like when you're scanning a room in a networking environment, like you can tell the young ambitious, you can tell the seasoned professional.
Right.
And then it's always this one person who has come, and I don't call it hunger. I just call it like over anxious. And you can tell that the motive is solely about what can I get.
Right.
So talk to that person because you need to hear this. So
Right.
of course you go in with a strategy. What portion of that engagement has to be organic? And then how do I filter my ambition to connect but not be overzealous?
I think if you approach networking from a standpoint of you're always looking to be a resource
That's good.
versus what can you do for me, people are more apt to open up to you and embrace you versus you coming at them with what's in it for me, what can you do for me. People that's a turnoff, and people can, like you said, that you can it's either a fragrance or a stench. Like people can smell it a mile away.
A mile away.
And they won't engage with you. They will lose your card. They won't call you. They won't respond to you. But and I'll share a story. Do I have time to share a story?
Time.
Okay,
Absolutely.
So many years ago, I'd say maybe 10 years ago, when multi-level marketing was really, really hot, I had a gentleman reach out to me about a multi-level marketing opportunity. And every single time he called me, I was just like unavailable, uninterested. I had heard everything about MLMs that I wanted to hear and just was completely turned off. And I had posted, maybe this was like 8 years ago, so I had posted up on Facebook that I was looking for an assistant, I believe it was. I was having some issues with the person that was working for me, and I had already terminated them, and I was looking to replace them. And so this individual sent me like 4 candidates. Like, oh, I know some people that are looking for a job. I can attach my name to these people. These are good folks, and sent me like 4 viable candidates. So after I did the screening, the pre-qualifying, I ended up hiring not one of the people that he sent me. I ended up hiring someone else. But what he did was, hey, Tammy, remember me? So yeah, do you have a few minutes I can talk to you about this opportunity now?
The motive. Yeah.
What could I say? Right?
Right.
He had extended a hand to help me. He did give me 4 viable people. So I couldn't tell him no. I felt obligated to at least hear what he had to say. He took the time to try to help me, right?
He made an investment.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And so I ended up meeting with him at Starbucks to talk about this opportunity. I signed up on the spot, and I made a killing. I made a lot of money in that MLM.
Okay.
I got in the time that I got in. But so sometimes, he had a motive, but sometimes you have to see how you can be a resource to other people and tune out of station WIIFM. What's in it for me? You got to tune that out.
Wait a minute. I like that. You these are tweetables. You have to put that tune out of what station?
Tune out of station WIIFM.
What's in it for me? That's good stuff. We need to put that up. We need some T-shirts that say that. So capstone collateral, we need to get that going. So when I think about some of the things that you're saying and perfecting that 30-second speech, making sure that we have the right motives, making sure that we're doing our proper research on and having a strategy when we get ready to go into these networking environments or being at an event, because there's always an opportunity to network. I'm going to put you on the spot. So give me the Tammy Turner, because I want to model it for those who are listening. Give me the Tammy Turner, 30-second speech.
Okay.
Ready?
All right. Well, let me preface it with this to say what the elements are.
Okay.
It should be who you are, what you do, how you do it.
Who you are,
what you do, how you do it. Yes.
Okay, good stuff.
So you should be able to articulate that to anybody at any time. I don't care if you're in the grocery store, the gas station, at a networking event, a concert. I don't care where it is. You should be able to rattle that off your tongue. So.
Okay. So I walk in and I say, hi, hello, I'm Andre Ebron, and you are?
Hi, Andre. My name's Tammy Turner.
Okay.
I am the president, CEO of Capstone Employment Services. I'm a technical recruiter. I specialize in the placement of engineers, specifically in automotive engineering, and I'm also an author. The first book that I've written is How to Talk to Strangers, a step-by-step guide to professional networking. How can I be a resource to you?
I like that a lot. You could be on the Drawing Board podcast where we can talk about your second book of 365 Days of Motivation, a guide to success in life and business. But that was excellent. Go ahead. Let's give, I don't know if we have the little sound, but let's give Tammy some snaps there. That was amazing.
And I always try to I encourage other people to end their 30-second elevator speech with those words. How can I be a resource to you? Because again, you're opening the dialogue, you're opening the door for people to come to you to tell you, how they need help. And that you're also establishing with them that it's not just about you. You're getting them to warm up to you. What do you need? How can I help you?
Absolutely.
And so when people hear that, I own a staffing company or my partner owns a staffing company, it's like, oh, I know somebody that needs a job. We all know somebody that needs a job.
We all know someone.
Or an internship or something.
Right.
So immediately it's like, how can I be a resource to you? Oh, my uncle needs a job, my son needs a job, etc. Can I send this resume to you? And then oftentimes that also leads into business opportunities for us. Oh, you have a staffing agency, so I have a need for controls engineers. I can't seem to find any controls engineers. How can I connect with you? Maybe we can do business.
That's excellent. So adding value before placing expectation on that relationship.
Yes.
I think that is essential. Everything that I'm hearing you say is you have to make sure that you're adding value first.
Right.
And then you're able, like the gentleman did, he was able to place an expectation on the relationship because first he had it wrong.
Right.
He just was trying to sell.
Boom, 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 boom. I'm like, no.
Right. Destiny Child, no. Right. And then he was able to come back around, add value. And a lot of times we don't get that second chance.
No, you don't.
Right.
You don't.
But he was looking for empaths in ways, and he was able to find one, and then it ended up being mutually beneficial.
Absolutely.
In the end. When I'm looking at the 365 Days of Motivation, one of the things that I find is similar. Hey, guys, you need to go to Amazon and get the books. Go to Barnes & Noble as well to get the books. One of the things that I find interesting is all of your books profess the how-to.
Yes.
The guide.
Yes.
The step-by-step. And a lot of times we can tell people what to think, how to think, but very few books tell us exactly what to do.
Right.
So I'm going to be motivated today. Let's thumb through. Let's see what we find here. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to stop.
So it's 365 days of motivation. So there's a motivational note for every single day of the week. So flip to your birthday. Let's see. When is your birthday, Andre?
Listen, the world stood still on December 10th.
He said the world
stood still. You all felt that pause in the earth. December. It happens every December 10th. So let's see. Let's go to December 10th.
Let's see what they say on December 10th.
This is probably one of the best quotes in. No, I'm joking.
Look, I'm all like, wait a minute. What does it say on December 10th?
Oh, here we go. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. Take care when choosing what things to practice. Oh, wow. That's about being selective. Mm-hmm. That's about ensuring that the effort that I expend is not in the direction of something that I don't want to be permanent in my life.
Right. And it's also about discipline.
It is about discipline. Discipline and practice. That's good. When we talk about developing, and I've done this, but when we're talking about perfecting a practice or looking at what to practice, where do you do your research? Are you able to share that?
I could. But
oh no, I understand. So this is
proprietary information.
Proprietary information. So we'll go ahead and if you would like to know that, you can contact Tammy at. No, I'm joking. You have to ensure. Well, the point that I'm getting to is you have to have quality information.
Right.
And what I've noticed in my coming and goings when I was in higher ed, when I worked as a director of admissions, when I've done different things, is that there's a certain level of information that comes with each dimension of
Right.
professionalism.
Right.
And generally, those who have the highest quality of information, they are able to peer through to a higher level of access.
Right.
So
I
now
agree.
talk to the professional. Let's say they are a millennial,
Okay.
and
That's a whole other
that is
hour conversation.
absolutely. I mean, because and I'm an older millennial.
Okay.
But I have a old soul, so like
Okay.
it is a little different for me.
Okay.
But you're talking to a millennial,
Mm-hmm.
and it is applicable to me as well. So
Okay, I'll be gentle.
yeah,
then.
please, yes, please, kid gloves. No, I saw in your post we're going to be candid. I appreciate it. Let's make sure that we're candid. I'll be Frank. You be Ernestine. Okay. All right. So, but transitioning now
Yes.
into you've kind of had some jobs, looking at some different goals. All millennials in some way, shape, form, or fashion are trying to create disruption to the status quo.
Yes.
But now they're ready to kind of settle in and take what they've been practicing and make it permanent.
Mm-hmm.
How do I establish the foreground needed to raise my income as well as establish a trajectory moving forward in my current career?
The best advice that I can give a millennial that is in that spot in their career is to get a mentor, because what I'm finding is that with millennials, they have, like you said, they're disrupting. They're disruptors, and that's not a bad thing. And sometimes we look at disruptors as being a negative connotation, and it's not.
Right.
However, there's still a lot of wisdom that they don't yet have, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's where having the proper mentor, the proper guidance, the proper advisor, the proper counsel, having a personal board of directors comes in. Different people at different stages of their career will give you different advice. So if you're talking, so you're in corporate America right now and you have a mentor or a advisor that's in corporate America, that person can't teach you how to become an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
You know, so if your trajectory is to go into entrepreneurship, then you need to have this person that's in corporate America right now. That's where you are. But then you need to have an entrepreneur that can talk to you about how to make that transition and when's a good time to make that transition and be able to help you and guide you along the way. That's really the biggest advice that I could give millennials. Because what you don't want to happen is millennials to come in like an elephant in a china shop, and the disruptor turns into chaos.
Exactly.
And then you end up tearing down relationships versus building them.
And I have seen all of these things play out.
Yes,
And
it's a very fine
a
line.
very fine line. You just have to make enough noise to make the china kind of rumble.
Right. You
In
don't want to
order-
break it.
You don't want to
though.
break it. You just want to tell people there's another way we have to secure this. right?
Exactly.
And a lot of people have not, and I'm trying to figure out an eloquent way to say this, but I'm just going to, let's say it flat out. A lot of people haven't received that proper home training
Right.
in order to know how to tell the truth responsibly.
Right. I agree.
We can articulate facts. We can we can provide all of the data that we want, but a lot of the work that we're doing is very relational.
Right.
And navigating these spaces on how to talk to strangers,
Yes.
of navigating the space of our own personal brand, because I see people who they're not businessmen or women, but they have a personal brand. I mean,
Right.
their IG
Right.
and their Facebook,
Yes.
everything is popping. It
Yes.
is on point.
Yes. And they're not in corporate
and
America.
they're not in
they
corporate
don't,
America.
suit and tie every day,
Not
know.
at all.
But they have their own personal brand. And you know what I believe, Andre, is that people respect authenticity.
Okay.
So my personal brand is, I wear a suit and heels every day. That's who I am because that's who my mother taught me to be, right? So I'm buttoned up, and I'm actually more comfortable in a suit than I am in jeans. That's just who I am.
I'll raise my hand. Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't make any apologies for that, right?
Right.
However, there may be, friends that are in my circle and they're equally as dynamic. They're phenomenal men and women. They're not wearing a suit every day.
Right.
But they are as authentic and genuine as they come. And so I celebrate authenticity. I don't care where it is, where you're at. Long as you're not like over the top, crazy and disrespectful and rude kind of authenticity that
Right.
I don't like. But you have to go to where people are.
You said something that I hadn't heard coined this way before, and I think it stands to receive some attention because I want some clarity surrounding it.
Mm-hmm.
So you said you need to have your own personal board of directors.
Yes.
Talk more about, elaborate, because I have some thoughts and ideas,
Okay.
but I want to hear your purview about what you exactly meant. So your personal board of directors.
Right. So your personal board of directors should be a team of individuals that can support you in achieving your goals, helping you get to whatever the next level is for you, not just professionally, but personally as well. And so that could be, someone that you feel portrays their brand very well. That could be someone that you feel is has a very strong financial mind. That's a financial advisor, or maybe they're not a financial advisor, but they have a strong, solid financial background, and they can help you manage your money. It could be someone else that could, help you, like I said, manage your personal brand. It could be an individual that helps you do whatever it is in your life that you feel is the area that you need help with or that you should target personally or professionally. Surround yourself with those people that are doing those things well. And it's not going to be one person.
Right.
Everyone, no one does everything well. Right. So you need multiple people. And those will be your board of directors.
That's excellent. So here's the challenge to the Drawing Board Nation. Drawing Board Nation, you need to go this week, and I would say make a list of about 10 people and then start to deduce.
Yes.
And I say, Tammy, would a solid 5 would that do, or
That's a start.
That's a start,
Andre.
Okay, solid. So
a solid 5.
A solid 5. Okay, well, what would you recommend? How many do you think needs to be in your corner?
I would say a solid 4 to 5 people that you can, connect with that will help you achieve your personal and professional goals.
Okay, so my challenge to you, I always issue a challenge.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah, we are in the midst of the Drawing Board Nation. We're in the midst of another challenge.
Okay.
It's called the Kingdom Perseverance Challenge, where
Okay.
Patrice Johnson, she's written a book. And so we're winding up. It's going to February 15th. So those, you need to make sure you're reading. And within that challenge, as you persevere and you set up things, I'm setting out this challenge now about developing your personal board of advisors. You need people in your corner that are operating at high levels and that can give you sound wisdom and advice. Here's
Yes.
something just off script. We don't have a script, but
I was about to say, we haven't had a script all night.
Yeah, we haven't had a script, but that seemed like the appropriate word to say there. I'm thinking, as we are developing our personal brand, as we're looking at developing, having a personal board of advisors, like these are not people that we might be buddy, intimate friends with.
Absolutely.
And I think that people, like the levels, there was a rap song that said there's levels to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But people have to learn how to honor other people's boundaries.
Yeah.
So from having been a mentor, what would you suggest to the mentee on knowing how to gauge the mentor's boundaries?
I would suggest that, that's just really breaks down an honest dialogue, with the mentor and the mentee.
Okay.
And being able to, because sometimes you're not able to gauge that until you're in the midst of it, with someone. I personally haven't had any situations where I've had mentees step outside those boundaries. Personally, I haven't. So
Okay.
I don't know that I'm the best person to talk about that type of relationship in terms of a mentee being able to gauge what those
boundaries are.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's flip the dynamics of it.
Okay.
So I am a mentee.
Okay.
Seeking out mentors.
Yes.
We have a lot of people who are like, oh wow, I see Tammy's doing some excellent things. I really want her to mentor me. I know about her business partner and what she's doing through Capstone. And I'm like, yo, I need a mentor.
Yep.
And of course, I wouldn't approach you like, yo, I need a mentor,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I would present myself in a fashion or how do you go about procuring mentorship?
That's a great question. So I am approached quite often, actually, for, people wanting me to mentor them or wanting my business partner to mentor them. And to be honest and transparent with you, it's such a challenge right now where we are because we're still new. We're only 2 years in. And so every single thing that we do is so critical to the success of our business that we don't have time, honestly, to do anything other than dedicate to the business. We're working 12-hour days. And then once you leave the office, you're trying to spend time with your family, right? So it's a challenge. But when I have I gauge it on a person's sincerity, to be honest with you. If someone's reaching out to me and I can sense that sincerity and that hunger and that crave to, look, I just need some help. I need somebody to help me. Then I am going to go out of my way to help. And if I can't help, I will put that person in contact with someone that can.
Okay, so we're at the 2-minute warning.
Oh, we're at the 2-minute warning?
This has
So I got to shoot my shot?
Yeah, you got to shoot your shot. Listen, we have 2 timeouts left, and we have to
first
figure
and
out.
goal.
Yeah, I'm telling you. When I'm thinking, Tammy, how can people get in touch with you or see what's going on at Capstone? How can we get in touch with you on your professional networks?
Sure. So anyone can go to our website, which is www.capstonees.com, and that's Capstone with a K, APSTONEES.com.
Okay, great. And I want to end the show with today's motivation. Today is February 5th. With 60 seconds left, I want you to be motivated. And it comes from 365 Days of Motivation, a guide to success in life and business by Tammy Turner. It says the difference between possible and impossible is your thinking. If you believe you can't, you won't. It's just that simple. If you believe you can, you will find a way to make a way. The choice is yours. Believe in yourself. Tammy, it has been such a pleasure having you on the Drawing Board Podcast. And I end with this statement. Your future is not behind you. It is not before you. It is within you. I am Andre Ebron, the host of the Drawing Board Podcast. God bless you.
Thank you. That was so
no problem.
awesome.
We had fun. I was excited to have you
fun.
on. I was like, oh, man.